Hey everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Happy hump day. Whoop whoop. Happy Wednesday to each and every one of you. Today is center block 2 of the Fantabulous Scrappy Stars. So just as a reminder, we did do the first block last month. Super cute, love it. And then this is center block 2. So what are we doing with center block 2? It is the double monkey wrench. Right there. Isn't she sweet? Oh, this is so funny. I know which way's up. It really doesn't matter though, right? So the double monkey wrench, some of you may call that a churn dash, and that is okay. A lot of blocks have many various names. What I did learn is that the churn dash has a lot of combinations, a lot of variations, and the double monkey wrench is the 9-patch, sound familiar? 9-patch variation of the churn dash. So that's why I'm leaving it as the double monkey wrench this time. So it is a 9-patch, just like the first week was a 9-patch, center block 1, and now center block 2 is also a 9-patch. It's just a variation though, right? So center block 2, where do we get the pattern? If you go out to our website at haloinspired.com, go to the blog, there is the pattern release for this block. So every week that we are doing this, so there's 2 a month basically, we will drop the pattern and it'll be free until this sew along or quilt along is over, and then we'll pull it and then there'll be a cost for it. So grab it while it's free, guys. We do have center block 1 with the general instructions, and then this week is center block 2. Okay, check out that blog. I love to see you there. And you know what? It's time to get this started. So I will see you guys in just a sec. Just to let y'all know, I have already made my flying geese as instructed in the patterns. And I did use paper piecing. So I just wanted to give you a heads up because we're working on the centers of the very center block, but these flying geese are actually surrounding this center block. Okay, so this is this month's. We have 2 this month. So this is this week's. Okay, and I like to keep something out to remind me of what I'm doing, so I get my colors in the right place because I've already designed this. Maybe you just need to have a picture to keep you straight if you're going really scrappy and making this something that you're pulling from your stash. I also, as you see, I have my 6.5-inch ruler. I do have a marking tool. This is my favorite when it's on light colored type fabrics. It is the air and water soluble, okay, disappearing ink pen. We do carry these in the shop. And then I have my rotary cutter. Might help if I keep the blade shut and safe while I'm not in use. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, if you notice, this is a double monkey wrench, by the way. Everybody has their own terminology, but I'm going to stick with the double monkey wrench for this one. So we are going to make these half square triangles to start with, okay? Now, one of the things that I want to mention, I'm doing 2 at a time. Save them because there is another block that we can use these in if it doesn't bother you that they're the same colorway. And I'll remind you when we get there because I'm going to save mine and I'll let you know. I may or may not use them. We'll see. It's a ways down the road, so I'm going to keep it there. Maybe I'm getting a little short on fabric and I didn't realize it. So I'm going to keep them. I'll remind you when we get there that we have cut these, so save them in your project box. Okay, when you make 2 at a time, we're only going to use 1 of each for this block. All right, so for the block you will need, and again I'm looking at the which side is right. You're going to need a background and you're going to need a printed. Okay, and what I like to do is take my ruler, and this is the 2 at a time method, and I'm going to simply line up, oh yeah, if I did it correctly, it would be helpful. I'm going to line up my 1/4 inch line. I have a 1/4 inch dotted line, corner to corner, okay? And then, so that's the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to draw a line a 1/4 inch away from that, which is the edge of my ruler. All right. Then we will turn it, and I'll do the same thing. Now, one of the things I like to do personally is I like to still do the same. I take that 1/4 inch and I line up along down the middle from corner to corner, hitting the point to the point, okay? But what I also look at is that my line that I drew the first time, I actually have, I don't know what that is. I guess that's the, well, it's the 6-inch line particularly on the ruler, but I think it's a 1/4 inch away from the 1/4 inch. Okay, and you can see these lines that go down, and I like to make sure that they're nice and straight with the line that I already drew. And then I draw the second line that is a 1/4 inch away. Just like so. Now this is a disappearing ink pen, and it will disappear. So I'll make do with it whenever we get there, because in order to make this go a little faster, I've already stitched some and pressed and such. But what I want to point out with this, when you sit down to stitch this, I will tell you I use the sewer's method, and I stitch on the side of the line right next to the line of which I'm going to cut. On the side I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut right down the middle, okay? Right down the middle, corner to corner, okay? So understanding that, I'm going to actually stitch on this side, okay? So I'll stitch down this side right next to the line, and then again I will stitch down this side right next to the line on the side of which I'm going to cut, which is this side. All right. Okay. So I've done that. Now, one thing about the see, it's already disappearing. And I have done this a while, not too long, earlier today, and it already faded, but it hasn't had enough time for the chemical to completely dissolve. So I put my iron over it, and it heated it back up and made it darker again. Which is great, but you can't keep doing it because eventually this does completely disappear. Doesn't matter if you put heat on it or not, it's not coming back. I always do encourage, though, that you test before you use. I've never had a problem, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Notice that I drew on the fabric with print and not on the side of the background, and that's because this is white, and in the chance that it doesn't go away, I'm okay. It's not going to show as much as it would inside of the white, okay? So again, I'm going to cut right down the middle. So I'm going to line up my 1/4 inch line on one of those lines, and if you want to get persnickety, you can go corner to corner with your ruler, making sure that it hits the points, and then I'm simply going to cut. Now, notice I used a rotary cutter. You're not required. You can use scissors. It's completely up to you. A lot of stuff is quilter's choice, right? We're not going to tell anybody that you're doing it wrong if you use scissors, okay? That's not happening at Halo. The next thing, you know, we should have checked before we cut, but that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I will take these to the ironing board and I'll iron it. And if you will notice, the method that I chose, which is the way I wrote it for the Quilt-a-Long, sew-along, whatever we're going to call it, we're bigger than 2 1/2. Okay, we're actually looking almost like 2 5/8. So we're going to have to trim them down. All right, this is part of the two half square triangles at a time, 2 at a time. There we go. All right, so I have one already here, and I've already pressed it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is simply line up me pull this up just a little bit. I hope I don't get in the camera. I'm trying not to here. And I'm going to go a little bigger. Now, if you'll notice, I have there's that diagonal line that runs down the middle, okay, of the ruler, goes all the way through. I'm using that diagonal line to line up on the diagonal of the patch, okay? And I like to be on the side of the valley. So what does that mean? So I pressed going towards the dark side, which is perfectly fine. There is no right or wrong way to press these for this block. So understand that I went ahead to the dark side so I wouldn't have shadowing coming through on my light. It really doesn't matter in this particular block, but I wanted to keep things consistent, okay? So to the dark side I pressed, and because I did that, it actually has a little lip. This side is higher than the background. So this background side is considered the valley, and this side is considered the mountain. I like to be on the valley side of the seam, and I do try to line up the points with the points. So I'm looking beyond the fabric, beyond the 2.5 inch line. This is my 2.5, okay? And the point looks really nice. Same down here. Now I want you to take a notice that I'm not quite all the way to the 2.5. This is my 2.5. And the reason is I'm trimming down, and if I go exactly on, I might goof this up. So this gives me another chance to cut correctly if I don't do it the first time, okay? So I'm simply going to activate the blade, and I'm going to trim on two sides. So we have one, and I'm going to turn my body instead of turning the mat. You could do either. So I've done two sides. Now I know when I cut these, I have two straight sides, okay? So then I'm simply going to take it and turn it 90 degrees? I don't know. We're going to turn it so like the diagonal is going down the same direction, but this time the dark's over here. That way I can line up that diagonal line again right on the valley side of the seam. And then I can make sure that I'm exactly on my 2.5. Now remember, I like to put my line on the fabric. If you're on YouTube, you can phew, phew, right? Blow it up, take a peek at what I'm doing. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim on this side, and I'm going to trim on this side. There's one. Now I'm going to turn my body. And there's two. So now I have a perfect, correct size half square triangle. Now remember, we only need one of each. So I'm going to just save this one for later. I'm not going to trim it down. I'm just going to leave it. I mean, what if I need it to be even smaller? You can always go smaller. You just can't go bigger, right? So I'm going to save these, and I'll bring them back, and I'll let you know when that occurs. So if you are anything like me and you want to save them, keep them in your project box just as so. So that way we're going to need 4 of these. So I'll get this done off camera, and I'll get these pressed and trimmed off camera, and then we'll be ready for the next step. I'll see you in just a sec. Before I trim this one, I've sewn on each side of the line. I forgot to show you on the last one how to check, because once we cut it, it's in all kinds of pieces, right? So it's always best practice to check before we cut to make sure it'll happen. Now, I did say I use a sewer's method and sew down the cut side of the line, right? And the reason is when you fold this over, okay, that thread, the fabric, all of the above becomes a little bulk in that seam, and it takes up part of it. So if I give myself some room to be a little bigger, I have a better chance of covering what I need to cover, okay? Opening up to the correct side. So before I cut, I do like to open up one side. And basically, it doesn't even matter if you're on the diagonal or not, but I just want to make sure that I'm within the allowance of the size that I need, and I am. So this is, we all know it's 2.5. So this is my 2.5 inch line, and all the good fabric is outside of that. So it will be trimmable down to the correct size. So I wanted to show you that because I didn't do it. I realized it after I cut, and this is important because if I wasn't going to be right, maybe I didn't stitch the sewer's method. Maybe I stitched on the wrong side. If I stitched on the other side, this won't even make it to the 2.5. Okay, so it's real important, I think, to go ahead and check before you cut. This one is good to go, so now I can get her finished. I'll see you guys again in just a sec. So all of the half square triangles are ready to go, and if you'll notice, we have these guys going around in between all the half square triangles, and that's all they are, guys, are 2 strips each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simply, you're going to want to put right sides together, the pretty sides together, and stitch that 1/4 inch line. And again, to make it easy to remember, it really doesn't matter, but I am going to press towards the dark side. If you'll look, this seam right here doesn't line up with anything, okay? So we can go ahead and press any way we want, and I prefer to keep it consistent, so I'm going to press to the dark side. So I'll get all of these done, and then we're going to start assembling our cute little double monkey wrench. See you in just a sec. All my rectangles are sewn together, so now it's time for placement, which is real key here. We want to make sure that the dark side is going to the correct side, and if you are color coded like I am, I want to make sure I have them in the correct spot. So there's the first row. Oop, gotta turn it around here. I probably need to pull this up too because I have a feeling I'm going to run out of space. Alright, I do have my center block, so I'm going to go ahead and stick her in there now. And then the blue one goes over here. And then this one goes like so. And like so. And then finally there. Isn't she cute? Okay, guys. What I want you to notice is that we do in fact have a 9 patch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just like we did on the last block. Even though each block was a patch in itself, it wasn't a background mix or a half square triangle, this is still a 9 patch. So we're going to put it together the exact same way that we did last week or last time with our 9 patch, our regular 9 patch. So I'm going to first take both of these, second row to the first row, right sides together, pretty sides together, sew my 1/4 inch, and I'll see you in just a sec. All sewn together. Now which way did I press? I actually pressed towards the rectangles, and I'll tell you why. This is my choice again. It really doesn't matter, except you want to be opposites from each row. Okay, so I went this way, that way, this way. Let me just show you. That way, and that way. Okay, now the reason is with this half square triangle down here, this part right here, it will be really bulky and it will be harder to lay flat if you press towards the half square triangle. So it made it really fun and easy for me to just say press towards the rectangles, the strips. That's it. Okay, and I will do the same thing when I add these. I'll still press going this way, I'll press going this way, and I'll press going this way. But that is the next step. We're going to add the final row, column, whatever, making sure we stitch a 1/4 inch going down, and then we'll go to the next step. So I'll see you in just a sec. So they're all sewn, all the rows are sewn to each other, to the same row. I always get confused how to say that. Anyway, the last step is to sew row 1 to row 2 and row 3 to row 2. And if you pressed in opposite directions, or in my case towards like me, towards the rectangle, all these seams right here will nest to give you nice pretty points. So I stick it right on top. Let me grab some pins, making sure that those seams are nesting. I'm going to pin to the right, giving enough room for my needle to land, and a pin to the left of the seam. Whew, got a little cramp in the hand. Making sure they're nesting. There's 1 and 2. And again, if you're so inclined, you can actually pin the ends. There's 1 and 2, making sure everything stays nice and straight. And I will tell you, I will put this side on the bottom because sometimes my machine likes to eat the corners when the half square triangles are on the bottom. But make sure we are all nested, everything's look good. I'm going to go ahead and stitch this one and then add it, and it doesn't matter which way you press, so I'm going to press out. So I'm going to press towards row 1 and press towards row 3. Okay, so I'll see you in just a sec. Isn't she cute? All said and done. This is the center of my block. Every center is different, so don't forget, guys, to go ahead. I'm trying to remember which way this goes here. There we go. Get your geese in with your blocks. Sewing again, it's another 9 patch. Everything's a 9 patch, it seems. Okay. Get that all done together, and boom, there she is. And don't forget to do your 5 cornerstones, or excuse me, sashings, and your 3 or 4 cornerstones. Now those are what you have to do for the whole month. I went ahead and got it all done so I can just focus on block 3 next week. But until then, let me go ahead and come back at you. I'll see you in just a sec. Isn't she fun? I absolutely am having a most fantabulous time making these blocks. Cannot wait till we're finished and we get to assemble them. But that's later, right? We still have several blocks to go, several center blocks to go. So we can look forward to a couple of things. Okay, first and foremost, I want to share Vicki Holloway of My Creative Corner 3 is doing these exact same blocks, but they're smaller. Okay, the centers are even smaller than mine. Okay, and they are so super cute. You can check those out on her website, which is Vicki. No, it's not. It's mycreativecorner3.com. She's got her workings as she goes. She's got a lot of other projects too, but you need to check her out because it is so super cute to look at all of the inspiration. And she's using a different fabric line too, which her color choices are amazing. And she's building them, as I talked about, if you want to use scraps to figure out her sashings and her cornerstones as she goes later. So it's kind of interesting and different to check her out. She's also on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Now on Instagram, she's Vicki Holloway, okay, all one word. And then all this information will be in the drop down box, just so you know. in the description box, that is. And then on Facebook and on YouTube, she is My Creative Corner 3. I would highly encourage to check her out because they are so super cute. I mean, Michael thought this was small. Oh no, she's even smaller, guys. It is so darn cute. And in the pattern, I have also written for that smaller size. So if you are interested in that, grab that pattern again out on our blog, haloinspired.com, underneath the blog. And the new one was released this morning, so it is definitely on there along with the smaller quilt version. Okay. At any rate, check her out. Now, if you're on Instagram and you want to share, do that hashtag Fantabulous Stars. That's what we're doing for our hashtag. I will be putting mine on there too. Vicki has already started because she's all over Instagram and she's got this all under control. So you can check those out. And anybody else who is wanting to share on Instagram, hashtag Fantabulous Stars. Okay. So also today I'm going to be on live with Michael at 3 p.m. or Mayhem as we like to call him, at 3 p.m. Eastern time for a live quilting and answers. And I have a couple of little things to add, just a few. So we're going to go and we're going to chit chat about center block 2 or the Quilt-a-Long at 3 p.m. Eastern time. But you know what, guys? Until next time, right? When is next time? We will be back with another pattern drop and another short tutorial for that center block number 3. That's my favorite number. I love number 3. So center block number 3 will drop next week. What is that? That would be September 24th, I believe. So you can look forward to that. Make sure you visit that blog and grab those patterns, right? Next week, we will see you right here, same place, same time. And until next time, may you all continue to be inspired, productive, ever so joyful. Never stop believing and never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. Happy quilting, happy fantabulous scrappy star making, and we will see you all soon.